Monday on RKW, a reaction Monday with Ramon Foster and Kayla Anderson. I'm Will Bowling. What is your concern level on Will Levis? 19 to 32, 127 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. He was pressured on 47% of his dropbacks, Chicago's second highest pressure rate in a game over the last 3 seasons. We asked this question yesterday on Twitter. And if you're just joining us on this show, it is still called Twitter, on what your concern level is for Levis on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'll be honest, we have 28,000 views on this thing. Over 200 of you responded with numbers anywhere from 1 to 10. I am disappointed, and maybe not disappointed, I'm surprised at how many of you are ready to bench the starting quarterback and ready to move on and give up on Will Levis in his 10th game. I think it is far too early. Week 1 under a new system and a new scheme, and a head coach, mind you, who comes from a place that always starts slow. Cincinnati is 1-4 in Week 1 on their last 5 Week 1s, including a loss at home to the New England Patriots yesterday. Shout out Ramon's roommate, Gerard Mayo.
Hey.
However, where are we with Will Levis, and how concerned can we be given yesterday's performance and what we know about this guy so far?
Here's where I go real quick. And I hope I said exactly as I said earlier. Okay, here's the thing. And I'm not the voice of reason or anything, but here's where I am with Levis and how he's perceived here. Levis has an issue. Levis played at Kentucky in the SEC against a team they had to play every single year. And most of this fan base is blended with either SEC and mostly Vols fans too. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it sucks for him in a sense because here's the thing. The same guy that we saw Tennessee play and beat in moments where it was supposed to be his revenge game in Lexington, in moments where you were supposed to get Tennessee in the night game, they had on the black and the orange Halloween uniforms. That's where it's either as easy as it should be to Vols fans to really judge him or not. His biggest issue is we've seen this in college, and Vols fans are also Titans fans, and Will Levis has to get past the idea that he has to please this fan group. And not that he has to, but his level of play has to go up way higher. We've seen 2 years ago, his senior year, when we saw the ball get knocked out of wide receiver's hand and intercepted. We've seen him throw a deep pass to Nico Slaughter, and he picks him off. And Will Levis is doing the exact same thing on the sideline where he's racing, pacing back and forth, and trying to explain to everybody that it's not a pick, and it was clearly a pick. They've seen this show before. And for Will Levis's sake, he's got to start, as Will said earlier, getting more good than he does more bad as it pertains to his career. That's what he's going to be judged by. That's why you're asking for him to be benched, because a lot of this fan base is getting college Will Levis, Kentucky Will Levis. And that's what a lot of this fan base won't accept because, again, you've seen this play out before. And it's unfair to him, but it's also fair that he's been given every opportunity so far to be named the starter, have the offseason, get the full support of everybody inside of that building, along with a new offensive-minded head coach that's calling the plays from with 2 essentially quarterback coaches with Nick Holtz and also Bo Hardigree. That's Will Levis's biggest problem right there is most of this fan base, fair or unfairly, has seen this story play out exactly as it did yesterday. And that's what sucks the most.
Yeah, I think that it's hard always because this is a weird situation. He's not a rookie quarterback. And so while he didn't start the season last year and he came in to play in 9 games because Ryan Tannehill was hurt, it's hard for us to, I think, decipher if he's having, these moments, or can he have these moments early on because he's technically, the guy for the first time to start the season. But because of the mistakes, it's hard to say the past 3 months when he's been working with, by the way, a really good, quarterback coach in Bo Hardigree, who has been also, given a lot of credit for some of Malik Willis's development too. And Brian Callahan, who has worked with an array of different quarterbacks throughout his career. It's hard to say, okay, what then did we learn from Willis in terms of him getting better in the last 3 months, because we didn't really necessarily see it on the field yesterday, because he reverted back to some of those things that he's done before with, not making right decisions, putting his body at risk at some points. He didn't do everything bad. I would say even the first half, we all thought, for the most part, that this Tennessee Titans team was on the path to winning this game. It was the second half, I think we really start to look at the non-adjustments that happened, the blatant special teams, result that happened and it resulted in a touchdown. And then I think it's almost like you look at, did Will Levis just really feel the pressure on him at that point and reverted back to maybe that hero ball instinct that he has? That's kind of how it points out to me. You can't do that moving forward. But in a way, I'm almost thinking, is this a situation we look at once and say, okay, he's going to learn from it. Things didn't necessarily go his way in the second half. I don't know. I'm not willing to give up on him completely yet, you guys, because it is one game. And I know that sounds foolish sometimes saying it's just one game, but there are some other things that came into play in that second half. It's not like he played the entire game like crap.
Yeah, and to your point, I'm not out, but here's the thing we spoke about it earlier was this. The issue that you have is this. It's just like somebody who's a serial thief and something goes missing at your house and that person's over. You're going to blame them even if they didn't do it. So the history of Levis has been for a lot of this fan base have witnessed him do this thing in college. Like yesterday, his percentage last year, 58.3%. You know what it was yesterday? 59%.
Yeah, and you got to be close to 65 to 70% to be a legitimate starting quarterback in this league.
And that's what they said they were going to do, right, this year. They got to get him up beyond that. And, yeah, it did not get off to a good start in any way. It's below that.
My issue with a lot of the complaints around Levis and around this offense is this. All offseason, I heard so many of you talk about how much better this coaching staff is. So many of you talked about the good energy in the building. And those same fans this morning have zero faith in Brian Callahan to develop this quarterback. None. That does not make sense to me. Those two opinions do not add up. If you're a Vols fan and you want to troll and say, I told you so because you hate Will Levis, that's fine. Just know that you're just being a hater. Like that, there's not real analysis going on there. There are so many Tennessee fans saying, oh, should have been Hendon Hooker. That is not a very smart opinion, in my opinion. Hendon Hooker has proven nothing in the NFL so far. I hope he has a very successful career, but that's a bit of an overreaction, in my opinion. But if you were sitting here today, this morning, and saying, well, go ahead and Rudolph, Shedeur Sanders, what's he up to? Well, he knows how to play behind a bad offensive line. We'll get to that tomorrow when we talk college football. But, what about Carson Beck? We want him. You want the shiny thing. This is why you hired a new coach, is to make the quarterback better. So don't come at me in week one and say, oh, this is just who Levis is, never going to get better. No, this is why you have a new coach. And you were the same ones, all of you, this whole offseason, talking about how much you love the new coach. Okay, well then let him do his job. This is what you hired him to do. The Vrabel revisionist history, you can't just throw that all out the window immediately. This is what you wanted. Now let him do his job. It's one game. Anyway. Kelly in Murfreesboro, 615-737-1045. Good morning, Kelly.
Morning, Kelly.
Morning, guys. How are y'all?
Good.
I don't want to just pile on, but, Will, I think your assessment in the first hour was spot on. Yeah, this is what my bottom line thing is. I'm not ready to give up on the guy, but I think, like you said, at this point, he kind of is what he is. And I think, I go back to the night we drafted him. I remember saying, he's Jake Locker 2.0. We've seen this movie before in this town. I sat out there in the stands and watched Jake Locker bounce passes to wide open receivers. I'm not ready to give up on him. We don't bench him. I would have liked to have seen a little more screen passes out of the backfield to try to negate that rush. I think Callahan's kind of limited on what he can call on any long developing plays. I get all that. But I just think he's Jake Locker 2.0. Have a great day.
Thank you, Kelly.
Lot bigger than Jake, though. I'll say this, too. I don't know. I'm looking at the stats right now, and Clearly, they said they're going to run the ball a lot this season, and they did in this game, especially in the first half, having success at it. I do look, and I know it's the first game, I do look at some of the weapons because this is what we said here. They added weapons to help Will Levis out. And I'm looking at the stats for just some of these receivers that they've added this year, and I was shocked that they did not use Tyler Boyd more in this game. You saw it the most down the stretch.
Oh.
I mean, Calvin Ridley led the way with 50 yards for 3 receptions, right? The next guy is Tyler Boyd. 3 receptions, 18 yards. I was a little bit shocked that we didn't maybe see some of these weapons utilized a little more. Even on those first 2 drives, it was very conservative. I will say this. They wanted to start fast. That was the theme of this week. And I get it, you're first-year head coach, but those first 2 drives in particular that didn't amount to anything but 3 and outs, those were a little stale.
Yeah, and to be fair, Chicago's was too. I think it was a fill-out game more than anything. I thought both sides of the ball with young quarterbacks essentially was trying to fill it out. And that's the way it felt in the stadium. That's the way looking at it. By the third series for both of them, I think they both got something going. And again, it's a lot of newness to it. And it was more touch and go than it was just diving into it this past weekend. It's 1 week.
Yeah. I think the opinion that he's locked into this identity forever is tricky, right? Because he can get better with Calvin Ridley down the field, right? Like he's not who he is in week 1 as it pertains to a new system and finding Ridley downfield because he missed him for 2 touchdowns that should have been scored ultimately. Where I do think Will Levis kind of is who he is the gunslinger hero ball mentality. That is what I'm concerned about today. I think my concern level on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 6 on Will Levis because we know that he had a conversation with Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon after the hit he took against the San Francisco 49ers in week 1 of the preseason. And what did he do yesterday? Kept taking hits and shovel passed the ball forward for a pick 6. That's where my concern level is. The stuff with Ridley, I expected him to be in a better place with Calvin Ridley today than where he actually is. He's not. Those two have not connected yet to figure out the explosive passing game. I think they will, though. Just hasn't happened yet.
I actually went up a level. Concern level? Yeah, I'm about a 7.5.
Okay.
I will have more time to break that down. I know we're loaded with calls.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think 7.5 is fair.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need to be at a 10 yet.
No, we ain't at a 10.
No, but it seems like it today.
Oh, yeah.
Mike in Nashville, 615-737-1045. What's up, Mike?
RK, duh. What it do, baby?
How we doing?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, you know what time it is. I like that y'all stole my slogan, but I'm going to let y'all have that just because I love the show. But I'm really not concerned. I give it a 5 or 6. All right, guys, first game of the season. It's a non-conference poll. We ain't worried about too much, right? At the end of the day, and I don't know if y'all remember me, I said this last year. Which version are we getting? Are we getting 2021 where he was unstoppable, or are we getting that other version? So it's a thing where you're just going to have to be patient. Now, I can't really make my ruling until, like, game 5. Then I know, like, okay, but let the kid develop. He's got some maturing to do, and we'll be fine, guys. We will be fine. They've given him the weapons. You got a good coach. It's a new offensive scheme and all that. We look good. Yeah, we stalled out. But the defense, our defense was outstanding yesterday, and I give them all the credit. They held out as long as they could. Now, the old Titan football kind of did surface a little bit where we stalled out and just 17 points sitting there. But ultimately, the guys got to make better decisions. How do y'all feel about bringing in a true veteran quarterback to help this kid, slow the game down? And I'll sit back and wait again. RK Dub, the best show in the land, baby.
Thank you, Mike. They
That's
did.
Mason Rudolph.
His name is Mason Rudolph.
They did.
Yeah.
Can't do it. And I'll say it like this. Quarterbacks are too fragile to bring in a vet. Absolutely cannot. If he's your guy, you let him fly. And if not, you crash and burn. And guess what you do? You get one in the top 10.
Yeah. And for all the people who want, I know somebody jokingly tweeted at us and said, bring back Tannehill.
No.
I don't think they're being serious, but let's not forget that Tannehill did the exact same thing to lose this team a Week 1 game last year by going 16 of 34 with 3 interceptions and a 28 quarterback rating against the New Orleans Saints. So for all of Tannehill could have won yesterday's game. Tannehill literally lost them a game with 3 turnovers Week 1 last year, the same way Will Levis did. Mm-hmm. So what do you want? Corey in Hendersonville up next. What's up, Corey?
What's up, Corey?
What's up, guys? Before I get on my rant about the special teams, I want to give the defense props. I know other people have said it, and I just want to reiterate it. They did an extremely good job. Now, I will preface it by saying that they were playing what looked like a young boy that was lost in Walmart looking for his mama because Caleb Williams looked frightened back there. And how do you lose 19 yards on a sack? I still don't understand that. But as far as special teams goes, I don't know if y'all have it tracked, to where you can be able to see what the Bears' starting field position was after the kickoff returns and the punt returns. But it was ridiculous, like how good of the field position they had to start each of their drives. And against any other team and against any other quarterback, those would have been touchdowns. Like Mahomes would have turned those into scores, and we would have lost by a lot more than 7.
Yep. You're not lying, because I was thinking that same thing at some of those some of the field position that they got, and it's like, how did they not turn that into at least 3 points, let alone not a touchdown? And, Caleb Williams, I'd love to hear the talk in Chicago right now, because he did not look good.
No,
he looked terrible.
But they won, right? So what's the talk there? Is the talk what we're having?
No. It's
right?
Not. It's his first start. It's Levis's 10th game.
Cover up a lot when you win.
Yeah, and you cover up a lot. That's exactly right.
No, I think it's a very different conversation. Caleb Williams yesterday, his 55.7 passer rating is the 11th worst debut among all quarterbacks picked first overall since 1970. You want to hear the list of guys who are worse than him? John Elway, Terry Bradshaw, Matthew Stafford, Troy Aikman, and Eli Manning. So that's why they're having a different conversation.
You know why also? One of these dudes was a bona fide number 1 overall pick, and the other one is a second rounder, too.
And the other one doesn't have a 5th-year option. This is it for Levis this year.
It's
in 2024.
It's big.
What's your concern level, 1 to 10? Ramon said 7.5. Kayla, where are you on Levis?
I'm going to say 6. Yeah, because I was going to say 5, but because he's played a little bit last year, I gotta up him 1, so 6 it is.
I'm saying 6 as well. The only reason it's not higher is because the Bears pressured him on 47% of his dropbacks yesterday.
Can I give a quick expectations real quick before we head into this break, man?
For Will?
Yeah, it's just 1-to-1 here in a sense, and it's not the same type of guy, but he failed just as much though. Lamar Jackson, year 2. Lamar in his first year came in 7 starts. The next year, 15 starts. Here's the thing. Lamar in his first year, 58.2% completion rates in his pass. I'm excluding all running. Year 2, Bert, I confirmed it with me. They changed OCs, brought in the guy who's going to craft the offense for him. Lamar completion rate went up to 66%. His his touchdowns, 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. It's taking care of the ball, right? And progressively showing that you're buying into the offense, where I think a lot. And there's 1 week, Will Levis may get up to 68% completion. But if we're going to correlate one to the other, I think Lamar's second year is somewhat what you expect. A late first rounder on top.